Hello and welcome to Cars at 100. And on today's review I have this 2022 Toyota Highlander LE all-wheel drive. We're gonna look at this car from the outside, go inside and check out some of the features that this car has. This is a base car, but we're still gonna see what this car is all about. So let's not waste any more time and let's jump into it. Okay, let's check out this car from the outside first. As you can see, this is redesigned Highlander. It's a very different car from the previous generation, but if you look closely, the shape generally stayed the same from the 2020 version of this car. And as you can see, the headlights, you have the LED, you have the xenon headlights, very nice, very sharp Japanese looking design. You have this grille, it's a larger grille than on the previous generation, and you have the fog lights integrated there. You have a very interesting design in terms of the black trim, because this is a LE version of the car. You can also get platinum or higher level version of this car that has fully loaded features with the chrome dual exhaust tips in the back. But generally you have nice daytime running lights as well in terms of the design. The base package rims here, and they measure, to be exact, 235 65 R18. So these are 18-inch rims all around, and as you can see here, it is in good size for this type of large SUV. You have this chrome trim that goes on a lower section of the windows, and you have a keyless entry and keyless go, of course, even on the base version of this car. As we go around, you have mud flaps. This is accessories that you can option, and you have these lights, very interesting and different looking lights. These lights are LED, of course, but you have some bulbs in there for turn signals. As we go around, owner put a tow hook. This is aftermarket tow hook, kind of harkens back to the old school ways of these SUVs, and it's nicely integrated in terms of this spoiler, as you can see here. And you have also options for some of the black trim here. Once again, if you get a fully loaded version of this car, you get a body colored trims, as well as here, as you can see. As an off-road car, this car is somewhat off-roady. You can use this car. You have some of the options on the inside I will show you in terms of the adjustability for the off-road behavior for this car, but generally it's a good all-around SUV. So let's check out this car on the inside. In order to enter this Highlander, you have this key fob. As you can see, it's a simple key fob. You have lock, unlock, hold for trunk release, and hold for panic. You don't have a remote start on this car, and you have a nice Toyota Highlander logo in the back as well. You can keep this key fob in your pocket, and you can lock the car with this sensor here, but if the car is on, it will start beeping. And you can also unlock it through the door sensor that is behind the door opener handle. You can get some leather on this car for the upper trims of this car, but generally speaking, you have automatic up and down for all four sides in terms of the windows on this car. It's a nice luxury feature that this SUV has, even though it's not very luxury, but it's very comfortable. You have a book pocket here, you have a bottle holder here, you have a bass sound system. You can also get JBL sound system for the upper trims of this car. This is soft touch, and this is plastic trim. This is soft touch, and this is cloth material, same as the seats. You have the chrome material here. You have side mirror adjustments here as well. You have a lock for the windows, and you have a lock unlock for the doors. And it's a quite large door and entrance into this car, and it's very comfortable. It is not very high off the ground, so you see here that it's very comfortable in terms of the entrance into this car. And speaking of the seats, as you can see, you have some bolstering on the bottom, some bolstering on top. They are very comfortable, very supportive. You have some adjustment here, basic adjustment on this basic Toyota Highlander, but overall I would say it's a very good all-around base car for the price, and it's very reliable as well. If we jump inside, very nice solid feel on the door when you close it. And as you can see here, apart from this owner put cover for the steering wheel, we can see a nice leather wrapped steering wheel here on this car. And generally speaking, I would say it is one of the most popular SUVs on the market, and there is a good reason for that, because these cars are very, very reliable, and you have very good options even from the factory as a base car. As you can see, you have an automatic climate control, and you have nice display here for the climate control. You have a touch screen that is very good as well. You have some buttons here as well, but generally speaking, it's a very good I would say infotainment. If it was a little bit bigger, because this is a big car on the inside, it would be nice if this screen was a little bit bigger. You have the knobs, which is comfortable for the tune scroll and volume. Generally speaking, it's a nice design overall, I would say, in terms of the quality of how Japanese automaker such as Toyota really goes beyond just a basic looking car and makes something interesting and nice. You have storage here, as you can see, plenty of storage. You have on the dashboard here, as well as of course you have the glove box here. So this glove box is very good as well, quite large. You have the transmission lever here, and you have a rear view camera without trajectory. So and it's a very, very simple looking camera, but it's quite large, comfortable to view out of. This USB option could have been USB Type-C, since there's 3 here. So one of them could have been Type-C, because some phones really need Type-C power input to really charge them fast. And you have the 2 cup holders here, as you can see. You have a drive mode, so you have sport mode, normal, and eco. So when you go down, you go to eco mode, and when you go up, you go to normal, and when you go up again, you go to sport. You have the options here for the off-road capabilities of this car, in terms of the mud, sand, normal mode, rock and dirt, and you have snow mode here as well, and you have a hill descent. You have options here for some of the section in terms of the, you know, this center storage. And you have 2 cup holders here, quite large cup holders. I would say, you know, middle size, I would say. You don't have wireless charger here. You have an engine start stop button here. And generally, I would say it's a very different looking, but analog at the same time. There is no you know, digital screens like some other automakers have. In terms of the steering wheel, you have options here for that screen, in terms of the, you know, information that you get, and it's quite comfortable to see some information there. You have the media controls here, you have Bluetooth controls here, and you have a adaptive cruise control here on this car as well. In terms of the media, you have some options here, just like you have on the left side as well. In terms of the design, it is not flat bottom, it's not supposed to be. In terms of the steering wheel, and it looks interesting, it looks 3D like the steering wheel. You don't have pedal shifters, but you can shift the car manually through the transmission lever here. Let's check out the back seats. To enter the back seats, you have to have the doors open. There is no keyless entry into the back doors. You have the book pocket, as well as 2 bottle holders here. You have a section for some storage here, or your handle. And overall, I would say it's a basic looking door card on this back door as well. But in terms of the entrance and in terms of the size, as you can see, it's quite large. If we jump inside, and you have climate control options here as well. You have options here to charge your devices. You have 2 USB Type-A's in the back, and you have some storage here as well. In terms of the design, you have cloth materials on the back seats, of course, and you have some options for the, you know, vents on top, and you don't really have a sunroof here, but you can option it. This car doesn't have it. But in terms of the headroom as well, in terms of the headroom, you see there's plenty of headroom here. I'm 6 feet tall, 6 feet 6'5" person would probably fit here comfortably. And you have some storage, rather you have some option here for the handrest, and you have 2 cup holders here as well. Now let's check out the trunk space. To enter the trunk, you need to have your key fob in your pocket, and you can just click the button under the Toyota logo and it will automatically open. So that's a very good feature as well, and you can close it automatically. If we stow this away, there's a plenty of trunk space here. This is a 3-row SUV, so you can lift up these seats and you have more seating space in this car. And in terms of the design, I would say it is quite large trunk space if you don't have the 3rd row. Let's check out what's under the hood. Now we're gonna take out this car and see what this car is all about in terms of the driving and some of the sportiness of this car. Even though it has a sport mode, it's not really a sports SUV, but sports SUVs are really popular right now in the market, but this car is not that segment. And in terms of the driving, first impressions that I get about this car, it's a very, very comfortable car. It has very good suspension. It soaks up the bumps very well. In terms of the inputs of the pedal for gas is very good. In terms of the braking, is a little bit soft in terms of the braking, but you'll get used to it. But I would say it's a very, very good luxury compromise compared to the Lexus cars. These cars are actually, Lexus cars are based from these cars. RX long version is based from this car. So it is more of a luxury, but this is a very good soft car and very good everyday car. It's also very reliable because we know it's a Toyota. Generally, it's a large SUV, but it doesn't feel like it. It's comfortable, the most important. So that's the biggest takeaway. In terms of the driving dynamics, the suspension and the cornering abilities of this car is not the best, but it's not supposed to be. This is a very comfortable car for every day, and this is what it's supposed to be. And I think some people, if they want something nicer, something more comfortable, they can go with the Lexus, but I think it's not a big difference, to be honest with you. If you get this car, it's gonna be as comfortable as Lexus cars. So if you think that you want to get this car and you are concerned that if this car is good in terms of generally what this car is all about, me personally, I don't really see this car to be very beautiful in terms of the exterior, but it's very utilitarian looking. It's not supposed to be beautiful, it's not supposed to be great looking car. It's a good looking car, and that's what's most important, and it's gonna be a very good car for years to come. This is my friend's car, my good friend's car, and he just got this car, and he's actually behind the camera. His name is Vlad. So he's gonna ask me a couple of questions about this car, what I think about it, because he thinks I don't like this car, but I do like this car. It's just I think it's more of a for older generation. I think for people who are over 40, not over 30. It's my opinion.
How do you rate the quality of this car, 1 to 10?
I would say quality of this car is better than I expected, but it's far from the 10. Not very far, but I would say it's 8, maybe 7.5, because I expected this car to be 6, maybe 6.5. This is 7.5, 8 solid in terms of the quality. You have some quality issues. Once again, this is a base car. It's not supposed to be quality everywhere, because this is also not expensive car. It's a Toyota. It's not supposed to be beautiful. It's supposed to be term car that will last for at least 10 years and is gonna be reliable while at it.
What do you think if there's one thing missing in this car? What would it be?
One thing that is missing in this car is, I would say, I don't know, to be honest with you, this car is, it is what it is. Maybe one thing is missing is a little bit bigger rims, because it's a base car. Maybe a little bit nicer looking rims, because it looks very base. I would say maybe inch, maybe 2 inches bigger, just to make it a little bit nicer looking. But once again, it's not gonna be, you can get this car with a nicer rims.
What would you recommend this car, leasing or buying?
I would say this car is could be a buying car, could be. Why? Because it's a Toyota, and because it's a long-term car. Generally, it's a long-term car. They are reliable, so buying would be a good option for this car. Leasing is great as well.
Tell me, if one person is looking or aspiring to get this kind of car, what kind of inspiration would you give them?
The most important, I would tell them right away. I would ask them, I would see how old they are. I would see, maybe they have family. I would ask them how many kids they have. And I would say that based on some of the questions, I would say whether this car is good for them or not good for them. There are lots of other more interesting options on the market, less reliable of course, but once again, the fun is not supposed to be reliable, especially if you lease. When you lease a car, you don't need to have a very reliable car, and lease prices are not that bad. I mean, right now economy is a little bit in a worse shape than before, but still.
How would you characterize this car in one word in terms of its character?
I would say it's a very good family car.
So family?
Very good family car. Very good family SUV. It's better than Dodge Durango because it's going to be more reliable, even though Dodge Durango is going to be a good car as well. It's going to be better than some of the Honda cars. I think generally it's a very good SUV. It's not supposed to be, it doesn't attract too much attention. It's very low key. It's a very standard car. There's nothing special about this car. And once again, it's not supposed to be.
Would you be surprised to know that this car's full tank of gas is $70?
Yeah, I would be actually. And this one surprising thing about this car, and it's not supposed to have such a big engine. It's not a special car. You don't really have to have a V6 in this car. And this is just something old school about this car. I think Toyota needs to invest a little bit more money in popular cars like this, and Camry as well, and make 4 cylinders. They're the same power. This car is under 300 horsepower, and 4-cylinder can be under 300 horsepower with a turbo, or maybe without it, you know. But with a turbo, probably it's more, more reasonable. I hope you enjoyed today's review of this 2022 Toyota Highlander LE all-wheel drive. If you have any questions about this particular car, please leave a comment and I will get back to you. And I'll see you next time. Stay loving cars.